The heck is that thing? It's been spotted over Phoenix at 2 different times by 2 different people. We'll talk to both the witnesses tonight.
Step into the newsroom tonight at 8 on 3TV, Arizona's Family.
To talk about some video that happened daytime.
Yeah, Mike, as you know, we do get a lot of strange videos here at 3TV, and we get red dots, blue dots, all shiny objects, all kinds of stuff in here. But this one, well, just take a look.
Like right here, this is where I zoomed in for, I think the first time. And you can definitely see it. It has a humanoid shape to it.
When Rich Giordano says humanoid, he means it. Humanoid
means it could be either man or something like a man, as we perceive a humanoid being, humanoid shape. It's got a human, it looks like a human. It could be a human alien.
Giordano was in his North Phoenix backyard just 2 weeks ago when he saw it moving overhead.
It's got to be balloons. I always think balloons first anyway. So I grabbed the binoculars and looked up and noticed it was humanoid looking. And the object is moving north, probably at a walking pace. It's really slow. And when I had it on the tripod on the camera, you can see that the object's going in a straight line. So it's not bobbing or meandering around. It's got a purpose. It's going somewhere, and it's going in a straight line.
He says the video doesn't do it justice, and he might never have told anyone, except for one thing.
And there's only one other guy who has something like this, and it's, Jeff Woolwine.
I noticed this object that seemed to be leaving the mountain.
We've met Jeff Woolwine before. He spends hours every day scanning the skies and the mountain in South Phoenix for mystery objects, and he gets a lot. But this one, captured in April, is really bizarre.
It seemed to climb up at kind of a high altitude, roughly about maybe 1,000 feet. I don't believe any balloon would be walking in the sky like that, and it actually changed directions. It was going west there for a while, and then it seemed to make a U-turn and start to come right over the apartment complex.
Woolwine calls it a tadpole, a shape he found not only in the sky, but also in a book about ancient Hohokam petroglyphs on South Mountain. Petroglyphs he's seen with his very own eyes.
That's telling me that the prehistoric people that first settled here in Phoenix more than likely saw these things in the sky also, and the only way to record this was to carve it on the rocks.
Could this object really be an extraterrestrial visitor? Some think it might be a test flight, someone flying a jetpack. Others think it's a set of balloons. Rich Giordano captured something very similar a year ago, and he's still scratching his head in wonder.
I just get excited. It's just like getting ready, it's like you're going on a roller coaster and you're about to go over the first hill. That's what it feels like. It's like you don't know what's going to happen next.
Could be anything, but you can see this story again on our website, azfamily.com. Check it out, see what you think. When I hear the word humanoid, that really kind of freaks me out.
Oh, it's some kid that had a balloon at the Phoenix Zoo and he let go of it.
I don't know. Those petroglyphs are really cool. I'm fascinated by those.
Maybe Royal knows. He knows everything.
He does.
And right around the corner too, but here's some entertainment headlines you need to know about.
Now, back live to the newsroom. Here's Mike Chamberlain.
Tonight's video of the day comes to us from South Phoenix. Jeff Woolwine took this home video of something rather odd in the sky. The black object appears to be about 8 a.m. one day last week when it swoops and moves all over his apartment complex, and he lives near 40th Street and Baseline. At first, we thought it was a black plastic bag, but Jeff says that it was the size of a Volkswagen, and it holds its shape the entire time that it is on camera.
Absolutely silent. No heat from it. I think the reason why some people might have not noticed it is because it didn't make any sound. It was very silent when it was cruising.
So if indeed you know what it is, why don't you visit us on www.azfamily.com and let us know what it is. It's a big mystery over the skies of Phoenix again. Happy birthday to Ted Kopp, right around the corner too. But
Hello, welcome back to another Petroglyphs in the Sky UFO show. How's everybody doing tonight? Excuse me, glad you are here. We have a great show for you in store. We're going to talk about where to see the Phoenix lights at in Phoenix, Arizona, and we're going to talk about where to see some of these day UFO sightings also. Hello, welcome back. My name is Jeff Woolwine. I'm a native of Phoenix, Arizona. I was born and raised there. I've been seeing these UFOs ever since I was a kid. I've been seeing these lights and these orbs and strange things ever since I can remember. So that's what made me go on a hunt, on a quest to find out exactly what was going on in our skies, because it was pretty fascinating. So in 2004, I set on a quest, on a hunt, on a journey to find out, to see if I can hunt these lights down, because I knew the lights were back. I saw a news report in 2004, in the beginning of the summer of 2004, a news report of a news helicopter filming the lights. And so I knew it was time. I did a lot of research, investigating, the Phoenix lights and things like that. And I wanted to go out and see if I can hunt them down, see if I can find them. And so that's what I did in 2004. I went on a journey. I went on a hunt. And I knew that there was a few news reports that people were making that they were seeing lights on the east side of Phoenix, like around in Mesa and Tempe and stuff like that. So I knew where to go. I knew where to look, because there was a lot of reports out there, a lot of sightings out there on the east side. So I went off and I got an apartment out there, and I started looking for these things. Didn't take very long. I knew kind of the direction on where to look. Like more like southwest, because I'm on the east side, looking like southwest, right in that area. Looking like west of South Mountain. I'm on the east side of South Mountain, looking west. And I knew that, lights were kind of hanging out over there from other reports of people seeing them. Didn't take very long. And I saw these two orange amber lights that appeared a few miles out ahead of me. And they were moving west. They were going towards South Mountain. South Mountain is a major mountain in Phoenix, Arizona. One of the mountains anyway, but like the mountain, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the show. These lights were going towards the mountain. And so I kind of followed them. They were showing me where to go. So I followed them, and then I found a place at Mesa Community College. And I climbed up on their bleachers, because I wanted to get a good vantage point to see the whole city, because I want to see these lights, right? I got my camera. I'm ready to go, man. I'm here. This is what I'm doing now. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, And sure enough, so I set up, I went up on the bleachers, and I set my tripod up, and I looked. And I could see the whole valley there. I could see South Mountain over there, and I could see, pretty much the whole valley from that vantage point, because it was a set of bleachers, at least 100 feet up. So it was pretty high. It was a high set of bleachers, and overlooking the trees and other obstacles that was in the way. Well, the whole summer of 2004, I was capturing these lights directly in front of me. And at the time, I didn't know what was so important on where these lights were hanging out at. It was weird. Like almost every night, I was getting great formations. I was getting lightning bolt formations. I was getting triangle formations. I was getting many, many lights in the sky. I mean, it was crazy, right? I couldn't believe it. And I must have came off like the whole summer. I must have like at least 150 Phoenix Lights sightings. I mean, it was just crazy. And I called up the news that first month I was seeing them. I'm like, is anybody else seeing these lights? Because I've got a lot of video on these things. Took the news about a few weeks to get back with me. And I ended up doing like 4 or 5 news reports that summer, talking about the lights out there in Phoenix. The Phoenix Lights, they call them now. And, you know, the end result was that we're all seeing flares. And I'm like, you know, there's just no way. Those lights are right in the city, right? And we all know what flares look like. We know airplanes dropping flares out. We know how people shooting flares in the sky. We see smoke. We see parachutes. I mean, flares don't hold formations, you know, of perfect triangles in the sky, right? You know, this flares just don't do that. You know, flares burn out fast. They're small, in which these lights were huge. They were big, orange, amber, you know, looking plasma looking things, man, full of energy, right? So the flare story was just kind of outrageous. And before I went out there, I remember seeing a news channel, and it was talking about some petroglyphs up on South Mountain. Now, this is the beginning of 2000. This is the summer of 2004, the beginning of 2004. And there was a Native American up there from the Pueblo Indian Art Museum, and he was talking about the petroglyphs up on South Mountain. And one of the persons that was with him, he says, hey, this stick figure creature looking, this stick figure man, looks like he's looking up at something above his head in the sky. And Dave, that's his name, Dave Morris, from the Pueblo Indian Art Museum in downtown Phoenix, turns around and he says, yes, exactly. That's part of our interpretations here, is that our ancestors saw and recorded things in the sky on places around the mountain on where they took place at. Well, that just set all my, you know, spidey sense off, you know, because I'm right in the middle of this, you know. I think I love archaeologists. I've been an amateur archaeologist at least, you know, 5-6 years prior to being a sky watcher. So I love history. I love archaeology. And watching the program and seeing the petroglyphs and seeing the stick figure man with an orb above his head, I'm like, wait a minute, what's up with this, right? I mean, it's 2004. I mean, these Phoenix Lights, 1997, appeared in 1997. And yet no one's talking about the petroglyphs. No one's talking about the history of Phoenix. No one's talking about the Native Americans who carved the petroglyphs up there. You know, I mean, what's going on with this, you know? I had a hunch. I had this theory that the petroglyphs on the mountains were talking about the Phoenix Lights. So back to 2004, you know, I'm watching the lights and the news is saying I'm seeing flares. I'm just saying that's just nuts. And so in 2005, I went into, because they were right there next to South Mountain. They're on the east side of South Mountain. And that's where the 1997 Phoenix Lights occurred at, on the west side of South Mountain, on the west side. Doing an investigation on this whole subject of the Phoenix Lights. You know, I mean, I don't find any evidence of anything flying over the city. You know, the only evidence that we have to go on of what anything happened that night was lights on the west side of South Mountain. That's it. The rest, you know, I don't know. So there's no evidence of anything flying over the city of Phoenix. It's been over 20 years now and not one proof of anything flying over the valley. I mean, I was out there that night, and I was out there most of the night. I was at a party at a friend's house, and I can honestly tell you that I'm a witness to nothing. Okay, I was in the supposed flight path, and if anything a mile long that blocked out the stars going 8 miles an hour went over my head, I don't know where I was, but I mean, there was nothing that can be credible in saying that anything flew over the city. But that's what we were going on, right? Because that's what everybody thinks. That's what everybody is, saying, right? So I was going on that, spaceship, technology, crafts. Okay, I get it. Why not? I'm open to that, and I still am today. And so, I've seen some things in the sky, like I said before. So this is what I'm doing. I want to find out what's going on here. And so I'm learning about the petroglyphs on the mountain. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to move to the mountain. And that's what I did. I set up shop on the east side of South Mountain. And there I could see the whole city. And let me give you an idea. Let me give you my vantage point, because I specifically chose that area to watch South Mountain. Let me show you what I'm seeing here. Now, this is a video that was taken. So, when I'm doing the news report, I'm talking to some of the producers on Channel 3, and this is actually Scott Davis when we were doing a news report in 2005. This is my vantage point. Okay, that's South Mountain over there. So you can see my vantage point. This is the east side of South Mountain. And so I strategically put myself there. I put my camera out there. I got my chair, and this is my kitchen. This is my kitchen window. I'm on the second floor, And so I purposely, moved. I got a great place there. I found a great apartment there. And I just lucked out, And it didn't take me long. It didn't take me long for something to actually come out of the sky here, right down in here, and land on the mountain. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you a video here. There's a lot of videos that I'm going to be going over with. So lots of information here. So I hope you stick with us for this whole entire journey. This is going to be a long show. But I wanted you to see, my vantage point. Oh, there's one of my UFOs there. I was filming. And I didn't know that was there. Yeah, that's going over my window there. So these things were actually, they were coming off the mountain and going right over my apartment. And those of you who have been following me all these years, especially when I was sitting here between 2005 and 2007, man, I was getting some crazy, crazy stuff. And not only did I move there to watch, but I wanted to get, closer to the mountain. So I'm about a mile away from South Mountain. I'm on 40th Street and Southern. Unfortunately, this apartment complex is no longer there anymore. There's Circle K right here. Those of you who are in Phoenix and know and familiar with Phoenix, Arizona. So this is the Circle K over here, and there's like a daycare center there. This is 40th Street and Southern. And it didn't take long until I started seeing things in the sky, and they're coming and going from the mountain. And so I would go out there on the mountain, right? Because I'm still thinking technology, spaceships, men from Mars, whatever. You know, that's what we're all to believe, that these are crafts, right? So I see something land out there on the mountain, and I go out there. I go out there to check it out. And what do I'm expecting to see, you know, like a crop circle or some kind of evidence that a spaceship went down, you know, because I saw it. My camera filmed it. I got it on tape, right? I'm using a high 8 video camera back then. So this is 2004, you know, and I don't have a lot of money, you know, so I did the best I could. I have a high 8, you know, videotape recorder. That's about all I could afford, you know. And I go out there and I'm looking for a crop circle. I'm looking for something, evidence, whatever. And what do I see? I see a huge boulder with a stick figure man looking up at the exact same thing that I filmed in the sky the day before, and a bunch of spirals. And then, you know, that kind of dawned on me, you know, because I remember seeing Dave on TV, you know, months prior. And, you know, I kept that in the back of my head, you know, but I'm still psyched on the UFOs. I'm psyched on finding out what's going on. And then I come up to this boulder, this huge boulder with all these petroglyphs on it. And then it clicked in my head again, you know, what about Dave? You know, what about the guy you saw talking about the petroglyphs? So I contacted him. I hunted him down. I contacted him. And I was like, dude, I saw you on, you know, on TV talking about the glyphs. You know, I was wondering if me and you could go up there and, you know, talk about the glyphs, and I just want to learn a little bit of the Native American culture and the petroglyphs and things like that. He agreed. We went up there on South Mountain. I didn't really tell him exactly what I was doing. I asked him if I could film. I told him I was making a little short documentary if I could film. He said I could, which was great. And so we went up there, and he was talking about the spirals and the giants and the lizard people and all this crazy stuff. And, you know, at the time, I'm still thinking spaceships. I'm still thinking technology. I'm still thinking crafts, you know. And when he comes to the spirals, he's like, now, these spirals are symbols for doorways. He goes, that spiral, when it ends down, and he points at this crack in the stone. And he goes, that's the emergence point into the underworld. That's the doorway. And he's not talking spaceships. He's not talking about anything like that. He's calling them spirits, right? Spirits. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, how can a huge spaceship craft get into a crack like that, right? But I was open. I'm open-minded. I was open to, you know, I'm here to learn, you know. And he's telling me that that's the emergence point for the underworld, for the spirits. He goes, if the spiral ends up, then there's a vortex in the sky. I said, a vortex? He's like, yeah, a vortex. He's like, that symbol is like looking down into a hole. That's what the spiral is all about. Is us looking down into a hole, into a tunnel. He says, as the spiral ends up, there's a vortex, a doorway in the sky for the spirits. He explains clockwise is a doorway in, counterclockwise is a doorway out. And I remember seeing on that boulder out there, the one I was talking about earlier, there was 2 spirals there. One doorway in, one doorway out. Then he starts talking about the lizard people. We come up to this petroglyph panel, and it's got a stick figure man, and it looks like he's got a tail, and he's got this circle in his stomach. And he's calling these lizard people. And he says that when the Hohokam people first arrived here in the valley, they didn't know how to live. So the lizard people came up out of the sand world, came down from the sky. They lost their tails so they could look like everyone else. And they taught the people how to survive. Now, the Hohokam Indians are a tribe of Indians that lived here in Phoenix, in the Valley of the Sun, for well over 1,000 years. Until one day they simply vanished. They disappeared. We don't know, to this day, we don't know what happened to them. Well, the archaeologists don't anyway. They don't want to admit what happened to them. And Hohokam is a Pima word because the Pimas considered themselves ancestors to the Hohokam. The Pimas called the Hohokam the people who were gone, the people who got taken away. Now, the To'oda O'odham tribe, they consider themselves ancestors to the Hohokam. And in my studies, I kind of go with that more than the Pimas. I really think that the To'oda O'odham tribe is more ancestors is more related to the Hohokam than the Pimas. But that's who named them. The Pimas named them the Hohokams, people who got taken away. Now this is interesting too, because in my journeys up there on South Mountain, I have found many petroglyphs of these like orbs in the sky, or these like serpents, these flying snakes, taking people up and carrying them off into the sky. It's not spaceships. It's not being, I mean, I guess it is like, I guess in a way it's being abducted, sure, but not the way that we think. It's not like an X-Files abduction. It's not being abducted into a spaceship. It's more or less being taken away from another thing in the sky. He's talking about the giants. There was giants, petroglyph carvings out there. And he points over to the Superstition Mountains on the west side of the valley, and he says, "You see those figures up there on the top of the ridge?" He goes, and back in the day, there was bloodthirsty giants here. And when the flood was coming, remember that flood that we all know so well? When the flood was coming to wipe out these giants, the lead giant told his people to come up on this hill, this huge rock, this huge boulder. Huge. And the lead giant used his powers. He told his people to stand up on the rock. He used his powers to raise this rock up, but the water kept coming. He used his powers some more and raised this rock up, but the water kept coming. By now, he has risen this stone so high that it now is as tall as a mighty mountain. But the water kept coming. And in his last bit of strength, because he didn't want his people to drown, he turned them all to stone. And when he did, that's when the flood stopped. And to this day, you can look upon the Superstition Mountains and you can still see those giants turn to stone. And when that happened, the water stopped, and you can still see the water line where the great flood had stopped. Whew, that was heavy. I'm like, wow. Giants, lizardmen, spiral doorways, spirits. What am I hearing here? What's going on here? Because I'm still thinking spaceships, right? I'm seeing them already. I'm seeing these things in the sky. I saw the lights, in 2004. Now I'm at South Mountain and I'm seeing, these things. And they're coming going from the mountain. And I go out there and I find a spiral, right? But no evidence of where this thing went to. But yet Dave is telling me that these things actually went down into the underworld. Well, I took all that, as a grain of sand. I kept it in the back of my head until I started seeing more of them, and they knew I was there. I mean, the way I look at it, they knew I was coming. They wanted me to be there and see them and film them, and they wanted me to tell their story. I learned a lot from the Native American about the petroglyphs and the way of the land and South Mountain and spirals and doorways and spirits. And I mean, it was pretty educational. And at that time, it's still, just a myth, just a saying, just an interpretation, right? And then as the weeks go on and the years go on, right? I started to learn, look, you know what? Because one day I'm up there on the mountain and I learned that some of these petroglyphs has the power to invoke the spirits, right? So I tested it one day. I'm up on South Mountain in this huge canyon on the side of South Mountain and tons of spirals on it. And on the top of this canyon, way up on the top of the ridge, is two men looking up at a flying snake. So I'm sitting in the middle of that canyon. I'm taking a break. And I said, hey, I haven't seen you guys in a while. Why don't you come and see me? Well, about a few days later, I'm looking out my window and something comes out of the mountain and it heads west and then it goes about 1,000 feet and then it comes over my apartments. It's in the sky right up here. And I'm filming it, right? And, as I'm looking at this thing and I'm seeing it, it was moving, man. It was alive. It was clearly alive. This thing was alive. This was not technology. This was in 2005, and I'm witnessing something that hasn't been seen, or identified or acknowledged, for at least 1,000 years, maybe longer. And the rock art is talking about this. It clearly depicts this. It showed a flying snake in the sky, and yet here's one right above my head, and I'm filming it. When I started to realize, look, these things, crafts are good. Crafts are fine. That's all great. I've seen some things in my lifetime that could resemble a spaceship. I don't know. I've seen a black triangle, sure. I've seen other things, too, that could resemble a spaceship. I'm not saying that spaceships aren't real. From what I've been studying all these years and what I've been seeing, I think the majority of what we're seeing in the skies today, folks, are living creatures, living beings. I know there's a lot of theories out there, before, I started saying this. I think it was just a theory, but I kind of went a step further. I kind of proved it. And I deciphered, I decoded the petroglyphs out there, not only South Mountain, but all the mountains around Phoenix. And pretty much when you look at all the glyphs now, it's talking about the same story. These things came down from the sky, came up from the sand world. They taught people how to live. In return, these beings, these people worship these things as gods, these tribes. Things were fine and groovy for over 1,000 years until one day they vanished. They were gone from history. Not only the Holcombs in Phoenix, but all the tribes around the world at the same time, they vanished. This would explain on what happened to these people. They were here, they conquered the land, and now they're gone. And the archaeologist wants us to believe, well, they simply migrated somewhere else because of drought. Well, if that's the case, where did they go? There's no evidence on where any of these people went. When you and I move, we take our belongings with us, correct? But yet the Holcomb didn't. They left everything behind and simply vanished off the face of the earth. So, watching South Mountain for many, many, many years, for at least 3.5 years, I learned on where these doorways were. where these things came and go from, coming and going from. Excuse me. I watched these doors. I learned that they came on certain seasons, on certain different times of the year, certain months. They were here. It was a pattern. That first year, it was really great. The second year, it repeated itself. The third year, it repeated itself, and so on and so on and so on. And that's the pattern. No one taught me this. I learned this. I learned that this was a pattern that was going on out there on South Mountain in Phoenix. This is how we can predict when these things will be here. We have to understand the petroglyphs. We have to understand these light and shadow markers for the equinox and solstice. I mean, the holocoms pretty much did the work for us. We just have to go out there and investigate it and understand what they're talking about. And once you do, then you'll know. Then you know what's really here and what they're talking about. And you can find out when they're going to be back on the mountain, because they're following the sun. They're following the energy. So the natives say that the spirals are doorways to the underworld. But when you look at it at a scientific analysis, they're actually going down into the fault line. And that's exactly what attracts these beings to this mountain for thousands and thousands of years. This has been going on probably since the beginning of time, ever since they were cast down. They are drawn to this mountain. Mount Hermon isn't the only mountain that these things rested upon. Mount Hermon is not that only mountain that these things rested upon. There were other mountains around the globe where these things ascended to. And South Mountain and the mountains around Phoenix is one area. When you go looking for UFOs, when you go hunting for UFOs, look for the mountains with spirals on them. Now, the archaeologist likes to call these weird-looking creatures, petroglyphs, anthropomorphs, because they're shape-shifting. They're shape-shifting, right? That's what that's what the natives have been telling us this whole time. These things shape-shift, and that's what they do. They're shape-shifters. They're alive. They're living. They're creatures. They're one step above man. We have regular animals, and then we have these other types of, I guess you could call them animals, because in a way that's what they kind of are. They're just higher. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't want to go that far as saying that they're supernatural, but I mean, I can't really think of anything else to call them to explain this. This is something different. This is something new. There's a lot of theories on that, but I think I proved this. This is real. These things are real. They're alive. They're living creatures. They're flying snakes and diamonds and orbs and lights and just, I mean, they're alive. You see 5 lights out there, you're looking at 5 living creatures, 5 living beings. And they're attracted to that mountain. They're attracted to the fault line. They're attracted to the energy that fault line produces. That's it. And they follow the sun. They follow the seasons. When the sun gets in the right alignment of these fault lines around the earth, it attracts these beings to these energy sources, to these energy spots. As the seasons change, as the sun moves positions in the sky, so do these things. They follow the energy. They follow the pattern. It's been going on for thousands of years. I learned this in the 3.5 years I was watching that mountain and studying the skies, just like what the holocoms did. The holocoms were sky watchers. So was I. That's what I did. And I learned their ways. I learned their petroglyphs. I understood what they were talking about. And what they're talking about, this formal civilization that the fiery bird of Phoenix rose out from the ashes of, is something completely different than what we're taught in history in what the archaeologist wants us to believe. This is something completely different. And I mean, it's no wonder they've been covering this story up for so many years, is because, I mean, it is pretty fantastic. And a lot of people won't be able to handle this, won't be able to understand this. And even to this day, they see them in the sky, but they blow them off. They think it's balloons. They think it's flares, right? Because why? They're looking for technology spaceships. That's all gravy, but we really need to start looking about what's here, what we can prove, what we can see. Not hearsay of a spaceship going over Phoenix that can't be proven, but what can be proven is what we see with our own eyes, what we witnessed, what we filmed. Not CGI crafts, not CGI aliens, but real stuff, man, lights and orbs. And now it's getting kind of, I mean, I was filming these serpents, man, back in 2005. I mean, I paid attention. I think that's all you really need to do is go out there and pay attention. We're going to talk about this. I'm going to show you where the spots are on South Mountain is. Going to see a lot of videos tonight. Let me show you a video of what I'm talking about. And also, before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about who else is watching these things and what you need to look for. Because I want you to go out there and do this like I did. I want you to see these things, and I want you to pay attention to the sky. That's what this show is all about, all right? I want you to go out there and check it out because this is real. I've been saying this ever since 2005, right? I'm showing you what to do. Nobody showed me anything. I learned all of this on my own, and I paid attention to the skies. Not only did I see these things, but I also witnessed somebody else witnessing these things also. Now, everybody's talking about black helicopters, men in black, blah, blah. And that first time that in 2004, when I'm seeing the lights out there on the east side of South Mountain, I noticed these white airplanes, these little airplanes, okay? And they were circling in the area. We'll talk about where this area was, what spot these lights are hanging out and why they're hanging out there on the east side of South Mountain. But when I'm watching them, when I'm filming them, I noticed there's white airplanes circling, okay? And when these lights come in, these airplanes go after them. They're watching for these lights, all right? I documented this. I filmed this. I've seen it. These airplanes are going after these lights. And I thought, my first impression was, wow, somebody else knows these things are here. Somebody wants to, study them and watch them like I'm doing, right? I was excited. But the more and more I was watching that whole summer of 2004, I realized that they weren't there to watch them. They knew what they were. They knew that they were here. They knew what they were hanging over. And they weren't there to watch him or try to be fascinated with them like I was. They were there to get them out of the area. They were there to shoo them away, to try to get them out of the area, to try to get them away from there, from that spot. And it worked. Most of the time, it did work. There's a lot of times when the airplanes, I'm going to show you a video later, where the lights were there and the airplanes were hanging around, but the lights didn't go anywhere. The lights were like, nope, I'm not going anywhere, bud. You can fly around me all you want, but I'm not going anywhere. Most of the time, the lights did disappear when the airplanes got closer. When I moved to the mountain, now I'm dealing not only with airplanes that are circling the mountain and watching the mountain on the seasons, right? On certain times of the month. And they know, man, these are, somebody has been watching this stuff a lot longer than I have. All right. And I started figuring out this puzzle in 2004. I started figuring out this pattern here. I started figuring out what was going on here. And in 2005, I knew I was dealing with airplanes because when I was making the news, the airplanes, the people, they saw it. And so they started watching me now, and they would follow me. They would follow me as I set it up on Mesa Community College. They watched me set my camera up, my tripod. Sometimes they would fly real close to me. I could see the pilots. And then they would climb about 2,000 feet up in the sky and circle and wait for these lights to appear and then chase after them. So now they're watching me. They're not only watching the lights, but they're watching me now because they know where I'm at. The news showed everybody where I was. So that just alerted these people who are watching the lights also, So when I get to the mountain, I'm seeing the airplanes. The airplanes followed me. They know I'm there now. They see my camera. And now I'm dealing with black helicopters. Yes, black helicopters. I'm dealing with helicopters now. And I noticed that there were helicopters out there. Sometimes would hover over these spots on the mountain. And it was weird because like a lot of times, I'm going to show you this film that's coming up here in a minute. I noticed like sometimes the helicopters would get to this certain spot on the mountain and the helicopters would hang around there for a minute or two. Helicopters would leave, and it was like maybe 15 minutes later, either a UFO would leave from that spot or one would land in that spot. One would come down out of the sky and go into the mountain there at that spot. It took me a little while to figure out what was going on until like this airplane flew over my apartment, over my window, and it had this little black dome on the bottom of it. And then it started to dawn on me, wait a minute, that's some kind of technology they have. What if it's like an infrared camera? And when the energy starts to build up right there on the mountain, when this doorway starts to open, it releases a bunch of energy. And this night vision camera, whatever they got on their plane, on the helicopters, can see that. And they know that there's energy building up there, and they know that it's going to attract these beings to that spot on the mountain. So they're going to go out there real quick and maybe try to stop it, but they can't hang out there very long because, people will get a little wondering what's going on. Or they would leave and then one would come. And so that's what I was thinking, man. I was like, wait a minute, they know. They had to have known, because how did that helicopter go to that spot on that mountain? And then now a UFO is leaving there, or a UFO is coming down on there, right? I mean, they knew. They knew. You remember I told you that flying serpent? Well, I took that to the news. I took that to Scott Davis, Channel 3, and that made the news. Oh yeah, you saw it. You saw that in the news clip in the beginning of that flying serpent. Flying humanoid, whatever you want to call it. Well, when the helicopters saw that, a few days later, there was a black helicopter. He went right to that spot on top of the mountain where I saw this thing come out of. Now, I was the only one that saw where this thing came out of. I was the only one watching. I was the only one watching my window, man, in the morning. But yet that helicopter went to that area 3 times. Not only to that area, but he went to other areas around the mountain that I was watching, these doorways I like to call them. And then he went to other doorways that I had no idea about. So he was telling me where these doorways were. And then he would face, right? He'd hover over that mountain and he would face right at my window. Like if he had binoculars, he knew I was filming him. He had to see my video camera filming him. But that's what he was doing. And then some of them would just try to intimidate me, I guess. And they would come from the mountain and they would fly right over my window. I've got plenty of videos of that. Yeah, someone's out there watching. So when you go out there and you look for these things in Phoenix, watch for these airplanes. All right. Now, in my experience, these airplanes and helicopters, more of the airplanes, when the airplanes are like high, when they're just like really, really high, they're not really expecting to see anything, but they're waiting, they're watching, just to make sure. But if these airplanes are really low, all right, and really hanging around the mountain, on the east side of South Mountain, and they're really hanging around, They know something's about to happen, or something did happen and we just missed it. We didn't see it, but something was there, or something is about to happen. So you need to pay attention to the airplane activity. I'm going to show you this video. Now watch this. This is a petroglyph on South Mountain that resembles this thing that we're gonna see here. And so like I said before, so I'm using a high-8 video camera. Okay, so it's not the best quality. It's a videotape. All right, and I'm looking about a mile away. You know, I'm able to zoom in. But I mean, it's not the best quality video. So when I went back and I looked at the video, I made a still photograph, a still pic of this being that we're going to see in the sky. And so you'll see a little bit better. This window will come up, and it's going to show you what this being is. Now you can see what I'm talking about. You can see the creature. And also this panel here on the South Mountain, this petroglyph here, I found this oriented towards the morning sunrise. So actually this is let me go ahead and play this real quick. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So when we back out of this video, okay, let's stop right here. Let's stop that right there. So let me get my arrow going. So here's what we're concentrating on. This thing here. Look at the dot. Look at the leg. See that leg? All right. So this line is coming up. All right. So this right here actually aligns with the morning equinox. The sun will align in the morning equinox right along this line here. And we have this coyote, and he's looking up at the sun because the sun will come up right over this rock panel, aligning with this petroglyph here. And there's a guy there, and he's looking up, right? He's looking up for the sun, and we have another UFO creature there. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. I'll go ahead and blow this up for you. There's what it looks like. Now look at that. Look at this thing. Now watch what it does. It's coming down. We're going to see them. There's the mountain. There's the mountain. Now it's coming down. Look at this. All right, now I'm moving my camera. All right, I'm getting in a better position. Now look at it when it comes across the trees. Look, now it's different. See how it shape-shifted there? Look at that. Let's watch this again. Okay? This is what I'm talking about. These things are alive, all right? It's not a drone. There wasn't any drones back in 2005, okay? They didn't have drones until 2007, all right? And you're not allowed to fly drones on South Mountain anyway. But you can clearly tell. Look at the still photograph and look at the way this thing is moving. Let's see if I can stop it on a good one. Boop. See if I can stop it. Good old there. You can clearly tell. I lost my arrow somewhere. That's okay, let's go ahead. This thing is not a drone. Okay, here we go. Look at this thing. Look how it's coming down. And if you notice, there was a leaf that just blew the other direction. So it's going against the wind. All right? Now, as it starts to ascend, it's starting to change. It's changing right there. Now it looks like it's got legs on it. Look at that. Now it looks like this. All right? It changed. Okay? This is the stuff we want to look for. All right? Now, and then it disappears. See? It's gone. Where did it go? I don't know where my arrow is. I lost my arrow. There it is. So this right here is just part. This isn't the creature. I thought it was at first, but this is part of the telephone poles. There's a telephone wire there. Okay, so that's part of the telephone pole. So that's not the creature. The creature went down here somewhere. Now about, I don't know, 15 minutes later, this happens. Okay, now here's the petroglyph. Here's a petroglyph of what it morphed into, where it changed into. And you can see it looks exactly the same, and it's got these two legs. You see that exact same petroglyph. Now, about 15 minutes later, this what happens. I filmed this thing. This helicopter. And where is he going? Watch this. We all witnessed, we all saw where this thing went down a few minutes ago. All right, he's following the path, right? This helicopter is going right to that spot. You see? Right in that area where this thing came down at. This is about 15 minutes later. Now, how did this helicopter know where this thing was? All right, where this thing went down at. Let's watch it. I know, forgive me, it's high-8 videotapes, not very the best quality. I did the best I could with the money I had. But look what it's doing. Look at this. See this? Now, look at this. What is this helicopter doing? Scaring the birds. Look. Look what it's doing. How did this helicopter know it went down there? See that? This is what we want to look for, ladies and gentlemen. Stuff like this, okay? This is what we need to study. This is what we need to watch out for on South Mountain. Look at this. How did this helicopter know this thing went down over there? Right in that same spot. Now he's coming around, scaring the birds. See? Look at this helicopter. What the hell is he doing? Right? So we need to look for airplanes and these helicopters. So, you know, the airplanes are like a clue. Look at this thing. Look how the helicopter is just hanging around this mountain, right? Airplanes are kind of like the clue. If the airplanes are really high, they don't expect to see anything, but they're watching. If the airplanes are really low, they know something's about to happen. If helicopters are hanging around this area, you know that something is about to happen or you missed something. This is what we need to look out for on South Mountain in Phoenix. Stuff like this. Look at this helicopter. What is it doing? It knows. You see this? It keeps going back to that spot, people. I mean, what's up with this, right? And I was the only one that witnessed that. I videotaped it. I saw it. So how did this guy know? How did this helicopter know where to go, where to look? See that? I mean, you can't get more better evidence than this. So, I mean, if like this video alone doesn't convince you that there's something here, I mean, I don't know what else will. I mean, we've got a few other videos to go look at, to examine also, that goes on here at this mountain. Look at this helicopter. Look how he's going back and forth, back and forth. So what is he, waiting for the thing to come out? And if it did, I missed it. It either came out from a different part of the mountain, or I missed it. I didn't see it if it did come out of the mountain, because that's what they usually do. So they go on the mountain, and they're there inside the mountain in that fault line. I don't know, sometimes up for a couple hours, and I've even seen them like I saw this one thing come down on South Mountain, and about like 4 days later it comes out a different doorway, a different spot of the mountain, but it was the exact same type of creature, exact same type of thing. They know, people. They know what's going on out here, and this is proof, okay, that somebody else is watching here. Look at this helicopter go back and forth in the area where that thing went down at. Now he's taking off. He's done. See that? And we just witnessed something that went down in the exact same spot where that helicopter went. See that? Okay, so let's look. What's this? Okay, let's look at a map. Okay, at like this Google Earth map that I've created here on the spot. So this is South Mountain. This is the east side of South Mountain. All right. So I used to stand here at this hill a lot and watch them. And I mean, I did see them when I was out there, but I mean, not as much as like when I was away from the mountain. So I mean, the only thing I can explain on what happened on my experience when I stood on this hill, like I would see them in the sky above me. Okay, I'd see these orbs above me when I'm standing on this hill. Let's see if I can get a bigger view here. Let's map this out. Let's get a little bit bigger here. So right here on this hill, right now this is like this is baseline. This is the road baseline. And like around 43rd Street, give or take. And so these are water tanks right here. These are water tanks. And sometimes I used to stay on, I wanted to get as close as I could to these things, right? I wanted to have these things, you know, fly right past me so I could catch them going in the mountain. Well, I mean, they really never gave me that opportunity. They only gave me the opportunity when I was away from the mountain. I mean, they would be over my head. Sometimes I would see them start to come in my direction, coming from the east side, coming from way over here across the valley. I would see one coming my way, but then it would turn off. All right, it would move. It wouldn't come next to me. The only way I can explain on the activity there, on what you know exactly like happened or whatever, what I think might happen, was like. When you're like coming up across like some coyotes, right? The coyotes' den. Okay, so you're standing by, you're next to the coyotes' den, and the coyotes won't come around because they know you're there, right? So they'll go somewhere else. They'll go to another den. That's exactly what these things were doing. They knew I was there, but they didn't want to get that close to me. I don't know what was going on. Maybe I frightened them. I don't know what was up, but they went somewhere else. So I had better opportunity or better chances of seeing them when I was like off of the mountain. There was a lot of times, I'm going to show you some videos here. There was a lot of times when I was like on the mountain and one came way far away from me, but it went down on the mountain. But as far as like coming up and actually, you know, going in the mountain in front of me, I tried. I mean, I spent many, many days and months and years trying to capture that. I mean, it just didn't happen. I had more activity and a more chance of seeing them when I was down below the mountain or away from the mountain, you know, or while I was on the mountain, but about a half a mile away. All right. So when you're by their doorways, when you're by the spirals, when you're by the cracks, when you're by the emergence point, I mean, like right now, they're not gonna like come around. They're gonna go somewhere else. So if you find a doorway, you find a hot spot where these things are coming and going from, you know, try to stay at least a half a mile away from them. You know, set up your cameras, get a good zoom lens, sit and wait, Have patience. That's one thing. All right. That's one thing in this research. You got to have a lot of patience, because like I said before, this is a pattern. All right. So during the hot months, some weeks are more active than other weeks. All right. So just because you go out there one day or one night and don't see nothing doesn't mean that they're not there. All right. You need to have a lot of dedication to this. That's what I put in this map. You need to have a lot of patience and a lot of dedication. And when you do, and when you see them, it will change your life. You're gonna know that there is something coming and going from South Mountain, all right? And the petroglyphs are talking about this. That's why I call this petroglyphs in the sky, all right? Because these are petroglyphs that are in the sky, all right? These prehistoric photographs of UFO sightings on the mountains of Phoenix, Arizona. That's basically what it is. These mountains are sacred scrolls, and they tell a story. They tell a story of these beings, of these Phoenix lights, of these creatures. And the Holcombs, like I said before, has already done the research for us. They've already told us what to look for, where to watch, what seasons to watch, what times to watch. All right? They've already done all that for us. All we need to do now is to understand this, have patience, go out there and watch and see it for yourself. This is real. This is what's going on here in Phoenix and all around the world. So in my little map here, let's go over the map. So we're looking east, all right? And I learned from sunrise to about 11 a.m. was like the hot times. That's when that one newscast at the beginning, that spider-looking thing flew past my window. That was crazy, right? What the hell is that thing, man? I zoomed in on that thing, and you can, it's got skin on it, dude. It's not a spaceship. It's not a craft. It's definitely not a Mylar balloon, all right? And this thing was alive. It changes, it shape shifts, all right? It zigzags in front of me. It goes across South Mountain. I mean, come on. Balloons don't act like that. And I've never seen a balloon like that in the first place also. And so, come on now. And if it was a balloon, it would have never aired on the news, okay? If it was that obvious on what it was, it would have never been on the news, all right? UFO Magazine published it also. I did a article for UFO Magazine in 2005, way before Ancient Aliens TV show, way before UFO Hunter show was even aired on cable. I was out there doing my research, doing my studies on the petroglyphs and the connections to the UFOs, to the Phoenix Lights. Matter of fact, my work had a lot of influence getting these shows going. I did the pilot for the UFO Hunter show, and also it was also the grounds work for the Ancient Aliens TV show. Pat Usker, approached me when the UFO Hunter show was just a thought. He was the one that got this going. I took Pat Usker up there on South Mountain. We talked about the glyphs, talked about the UFOs matching the petroglyphs, and it took a few years for Hollywood to pick it up, but when they finally did, later on in 2007, that's when I actually did the UFO Hunter show on the History Channel. And I was doing this way before Ancient Aliens, way before UFO Hunter show, and I believe I had a lot of influence getting these shows going. And so I learned from sunrise to about 11 a.m. is about the hot times. That's when I was seeing them like the most on these certain months, on these certain seasons. Remember that. It's a pattern. They're following the sun. They're following the seasons. Remember that. And that's the hardest thing about this right now. So, it's finding that pattern, okay? That's the hardest thing. But you got to be persistent. You got to keep going out there. I did it. So can you. And I want you to go out there and do it too, all right? But you got to have commitment, all right? You have to go out there. You have to acknowledge these things are real. Just because you don't see one Doesn't mean they're not there. You need to keep going out there. You must have missed it. Just keep going out there. Trust me. We're gonna look. We're gonna look at these videos on what I filmed, man. Right? You want to see these things? I'm showing you how to see them. Okay? Don't give up. And once you understand that pattern, then you can track them. You can track them like I did for 3 years. I tracked them. And the hardest part is finding out the pattern. And January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August seem to be very, very good times to see these things on South Mountain, okay? So we're talking about day sightings now. A little bit later, we're going to talk about the night sightings on how to see these Phoenix lights. But now we're talking about the day sightings on where to see them on South Mountain. So sunrise till about 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. until 6. Now, one thing that I learned was the hottest time was 5:30, right? I don't know why, but 5:30 seemed to be a very, very good time to see these things. I don't know why, but it is. And it's interesting too, because the Mexicans and the Mayans up there in Mexico, they start giving food out and they start doing stuff around 5:30. I don't know. All these crazy superstitions or whatever, or these rituals that some of these Native Americans have been doing, and some of these ancient tribes have been doing. All these rituals, handing out food at 5:30 and doing things around certain times, and kachina dances and ceremonies and hoop dances. I mean, it all relates to these things. All this stuff that we see today is going back to these things in the sky. Okay. All these Native Americans, all these sacred tribes, all these ancient tribes, if you will, are acting out or portraying what they saw, especially the hoop dancers, man. Oh my God, the hoop dancers. I mean, come on, they're shape-shifting. They got orbs. They go into snakes. They go into diamonds. Come on now. They're shape-shifting, dude. They're UFOs, man. The hoop dancers are definitely UFOs. The kachinas are these creatures, right? Not aliens, but living beings, okay? And the feathers is for flight, okay? So it's all some symbolistic, okay? All these symbols are not just there for fancy dress. It's not just there to look pretty. No, these symbols is for a reason, okay? So we see diamonds on the headdress of some of these native dancers. The diamonds, right? I've seen diamonds in the sky, right? We see flying like snakes or whatever, right? You see what I'm saying? The same symbols. Spirals, doorways, okay? The symbols, the petroglyphs. All this stuff, everything. The hoop dances, the kachina dances, all these ceremonies that goes on throughout the seasons are talking about these things in the sky. That's it. UFOs will come and go from this mountain, all right? Don't give up. You will see them if you look and have patience and commitment, all right? So this right here, now this is interesting. So remember how I told you about, I showed you video of me looking out the window and Scott Davis looking out the window also. And I'm seeing that mountain, right? And every once in a while I would see blue lights. Blue lights right around in here, okay? And let's look at the video real quick. Let me get this out of here. Okay. Okay, now it's talking about watch for little white airplanes and black helicopters, right? We talked about that. Okay. So let's take a look at what these blue lights, what I'm talking about. Let me find it real quick for you. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we need to look for. I don't know, give or take like right after sunset, 7:30, 8 o'clock. Check this out. So this is looking out my window. All right. Now you saw my vantage point. You saw the mountain out there. There's no trails out there. That's all rugged. I know, I was there. All right. There's no cars up there. There's no bicycles up there. These sure the hell aren't people with flashlights up there, all right? There's no trails right here where these lights are appearing at. Look at this, okay? You see that? This is what you want to look for on the east side of South Mountain, on the mountain. Look at that. Now I switched over to night vision. That's what the night vision looks like. This is on South Mountain. This is like, and this is what, March 2005. You see that? These lights are coming out of the mountain and they're kind of going back in the mountain. So look at that. It's just fascinating. See that? You want to keep an eye out for this. I mean, you can see these lights all the way from downtown, man. All right? You know what you're looking at? You know what to look for? You're on the east side of South Mountain? I'll give you a hint, too. So the east side is more older than the west side. And it's really neat. South Mountain, the landscape changes as you go down the road or you go through the miles down the road. The landscape changes. I mean, the mountain is really spectacular. It's really a sacred mountain. And I mean, we can go into the story here real quick as we watch these lights. Remember I told you on how, the Hohokans were here and then, they vanished, right? So when I'm doing my studies on South Mountain, I'm doing my history on South Mountain. That's night vision. I just changed it over to night vision. I went to the Phoenix Library to find out, all I could on South Mountain and everything. And I came across this folder in the Arizona room up on the 4th floor that's been tucked away for like 80 years, away from the public eye. I asked the secretary, give me everything you have on South Mountain. She comes out with this folder. And so like this year prior to this, I'm up there. I'm finding sacrificing altars on South Mountain. I'm finding evidence of giants on South Mountain. Some of my past shows that talk about the giants there. I'm finding tombs, okay? Like I said, I'm an archaeologist. I can spot things a mile away. I know when something is not normal, all right, is not natural. I'm finding tombs out there. I'm finding man-made hill pyramids, okay, with tombs inside of it, all right? And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? Why am I discovering all this stuff and it hasn't been talked about, all right? What's up with the archaeologist? How come he's not talking about this? I even did a news report, a TV news report in the city of Phoenix with the city archaeologists about UFOs and petroglyphs, and I don't think anyone has done that before. And of course, the archaeologist is going to, blow smoke up people's butts, but the evidence is there. I mean, when you look at, I wrote a book. I'll talk about the book later. When you look at the photographs, everything I discovered out there, I photographed it. I brought this information down from the mountain. And a year, I'm finding all this stuff, all this evidence of giants and tombs and things. And I'm like, what is up with this? I don't understand this, Oh, by the way, they made South Mountain a government park. Why did they do that? Okay, that makes no sense. Why not make the White Tank Mountains a government park? Why not make the Superstition Mountains a government park? Why not make Camelback Mountain a government park? What makes South Mountain so special that they would make it a government park? Well, it's because there is tombs up there, all right? There are things up there that's been buried there for well over 1,000 years. And I think if we go up there, start digging up these tombs and find all this evidence, it's going to rewrite history and it's going to tell a completely different story. It's going to tell the story I'm about ready to tell you here in a minute. And that's just something that, they're trying to keep hush. And this story, this information, the real history of Phoenix has been covered up for 80 years. All right. I'm going to tell you why. So I opened up this folder and this information hits me. It's the first park ranger. His name is Charles Holbrook. And he's talking about, because when he was there from the 1930s to the late 40s, the natives there, they told him what was on South Mountain. They told him about the tombs. They told him about the spirits of the earth and the sky. They told him what happened to the Hohokam people. They told him about the sacrificing altars. They told him that the Mayans were here in this valley of the sun. And that's interesting too, because I found a lot of petroglyphs out there that's not Hohokam art. It's Mayan art. And yet I'm reading this article that he had wrote saying how the giants were here, saying how the gold was here, saying how these beings were here, and the people here worship these things and perform sacrificing to them. Here's the story, and Holbrook writes this. So when he writes, when the people first got here, when the Hohokam Indians first got here, chances are they followed the Phoenix Lights to this area, to this mountain, to this valley. Much like I did. Remember in the beginning I told you? I followed these lights. I followed the lights to the mountain, man. All right? The lights showed me where to go. I believe that's how the Hohokam Indians got to this valley. And it wasn't a desert at that time. It was a tropical-like landscape. There's so much evidence that there was tons of water here. I mean, we found dried up waterfalls on the mountains, all right, and dried up streams. Okay, it wasn't a desert. It was a tropical landscape. It was beautiful there. It wasn't a dried up wasteland like it is now. Completely different. When the Hohokams first got here, they didn't know how to live. These things came up out of the sand world, down from the sky. They taught these people how to live. They taught them the secret incantations. They taught them the secret ways in which man was not really supposed to know. As a matter of fact, in talking with some of the Native American elders, there's a lot of them that feels that this subject that we're talking about right now is a type of taboo subject. This man was not supposed to really know about these things. Basically, this is a scary thing, right? Even when Dave Morris found out what I was doing when we got down off the mountain, and I told him I had this idea that the Phoenix Lights had some kind of connection with the petroglyphs on the mountain, he didn't want to talk to me no more. That was it. That killed the deal. That killed the deal right there. He did not, to this day, he won't go up on the mountain with me again. Nope. Because he knows, because his family, his parents, and their parents, and their parents, and their parents, and their parents, from generations upon generations, told the stories of what happened to their people when they saw these things in the sky, when they interacted with these things in the sky. And it goes on to say that these things, they morph, they change, they shapeshift. Sometimes they look like animals. Sometimes they look like snakes. Sometimes they look like diamonds and orbs. But here's the thing. These orbs that we see in the skies today, that's just the beginning. I have witnessed, and the petroglyphs depict this. Remember I told you about the lizard people, how it had this circle in the belly? Well, a lot of interpretations on that circle in the belly is him halfway in the underworld and him halfway into our world. But me witnessing this and me understanding the petroglyphs, I've seen this. That circle in his belly, that is the orb. That's the orb. That is the light that we see in the skies today. And it's morphing. It's changing. It's changing into the likeness of a man. It's changing into the likeness of a diamond. It's changing into the likeness of a serpent. All right? They're morphing. They're changing. These orbs that we see in the sky, these lights, this is just the beginning. There is more to come. I've seen it. I have witnessed it. Look at my website. On my YouTube channel, there's links on all my videos on where to get to my website. You can see some of the stuff that I'm not going to be presenting on tonight's show. And they change, they shapeshift, all right? They sacrificed these things. They not these things. They sacrificed people to these things. They worship these things as gods. For 1,000 years, this went on. This is what Charles Holbrook writes, okay? And for reasons unknown, you can find this on my website, Charles Holbrook. All the documentation I found in the library is on my website. You can go see it. And story says this went on for 1,000 years until one day the sacrificing stopped for reasons unknown. And when that did, that's when the land started to dry up. That's when the land got desolated. The water stopped. The rain stopped. It was dying. The land was dying. Man's blood is not being poured down the sacred mountain anymore. And when that happened, that's when it pissed off the Phoenix Lights. It pissed off the flying serpents. It pissed off the orbs that we see in the skies. And then, some say, the devil came down from the east and took these people away. And that coincides with what the petroglyphs are talking about. Remember I talked about this earlier? These flying serpents picking people up, taking them off into the sky. The flying orbs picking people up, taking them off into the sky. And there were witnesses to this. And they were afraid in the hidden caves. And when it was all over with, all the people, most of all the people were gone now. They were taken away by these lights, by the Phoenix Lights, by these creatures in the sky, by the spirits of the earth and the sky. They were taken away by these things. And the people came out of the caves, and the tribal leaders knew that it was wrong because their people were screaming at them, "Why did you stop the sacrifice? Look what happened. You upset the gods. Look at our land. There's no water. It's all dead. Our people got taken away. Why did you stop the sacrifice?" And the leaders at that time, the leaders of the tribe, knew that it was wrong to stop the sacrifice. So they cut their own hearts out on the sacrificing altars. And the people, the surviving people of this Holocaust, they knew that if they were going to continue to live in this valley, in the Valley of the Sun, that eventually they would have to go back to war with these spirits of the earth and sky. And they were afraid and they were terrified. And Charles Holbrook writes in his journal, he says, the gold was as high as the tallest saguaro cactus and as round as the sun. And they buried all this gold in the mountains of South Mountain. And they vowed never to come back here again. That was it. They cursed this land. This was a cursed land. And they all went back to their homeland. They went back to Mexico. For many, many years, nobody lived in this desert. There were tribes on the outskirts, and they saw the lights, and they saw the spirits, and they saw the orbs, and they knew. And they were afraid. And rightly they should be. Because they told their children, their children's children, and their children's children, and for generation upon generations, they told the stories. They told the secret stories of what happened to their people when they saw what was now called the Phoenix Lights in this Valley of the Sun. They knew what these lights were. They knew what had happened to their people, and they were terrified. And they told their people, they told their children, you need to stay away from this. This is taboo. That's the real history of Phoenix. It's all in the library. Now, Charles Holbrook, he's not just some everyday Joe, okay? Some everyday park official. I found evidence of this guy. I found more stories of this guy in different parts of the West Coast, in California, in Utah, in New Mexico, in Phoenix, in Casa Grande, all right? He just wasn't this little guy, talking to the Indians and making up these stories, right? He actually protected the gold on the tombs there. His son writes a book and talks about how his dad was keeping some of these people away from the gold tombs on South Mountain. And some of the stuff is locked up in these archives, I can't even. There's no access to. The public records on that is gone. You can't do that. You can't. I mean, it tells you that these files are there in these different parts of the West Coast, but you can't get to them. I mean, he was a big man, right? He's just not some everyday Joe telling a story that he learned. This guy. So my point is, why would such a important man, an important park official, write this in his journals and tell people about the tombs up there on the mountain and tell people what happened to these people that used to live here? Why would he go that far? Why would he, start chasing people off the mountain who were looking for the gold if it wasn't true? And that's what he did. He did tours on South Mountain. I used to do tours on South Mountain also, and I talked about the petroglyphs, and there's a trail up there named Holbrook Trail. And he told people about the tombs, about the Spanish being here. The archaeologist doesn't even want to admit that the Spanish conquistadors were here, but Charles Holbrook swears up and down. And I found evidence in my book that I'll talk about later that the Spanish was here. I mean, I found evidence that they were, And so he told people about the people here, about the Hohokam Indians and what was going on here. And that was kind of his downfall. That was kind of the downfall of everything, because that's when, it struck the minds of people. Hey, let's go up there and start looking for gold. That's what happened. So after his death, they buried all his information in a folder in the library. And sure, they made a trail named after him, Holbrook Trail. And they named the lookout peak up there, Holbrook's Lookout. But that's about it. You don't really hear too much of Charles. You don't really hear too much of it, right? But on the rest of this, it's in the library, and I dug it up, and I'm presenting this facts to you. This is the real history of Phoenix. And so after his death, they sealed up the records. They put him in the library. Archaeologists doesn't talk about it anymore. They don't even talk about the altar as being up there. But look at the photographs that I've taken up on the mountain. I mean, you can see the evidence. Look at the tombs that I've discovered up there on the mountain, right? And one of the stories on the tombs here, and one of the reasons why we probably shouldn't open up the tombs is because one of the stories that I kind of stumbled across was the Phoenix Lights is actually guarding the tombs that are on South Mountain. They're actually guarding the gold there because they're waiting for the mines to return someday and reclaim all the goodies that's locked up in this mountain. Everything is supposed to start over again. Because the Hopis talk about the first, second, and third, and fourth world, and the fifth world that's about to come, and things like that. So each world has these cycles, right? And we're ready to enter the next world. And every time the new world begins, these beings are in the sky, and they teach man how to survive what happened after the mass destruction of the last world. So the new world, these things will be here to help mankind live and survive, and in return will worship these things as gods. That's basically what's happening now. One thing I learned studying these UFOs, whenever mankind goes to war with each other, we see a lot of UFOs. Nobody really knows the exact time when these beings will come down and interact with mankind, and when the next world, the new world, will happen. But they know that the time is short. All right, they see all the prophecies in place. Just like what we are seeing now today. We see all these prophecies towards the end of our days, towards of our world that we live in now, that is about to end. And they know. And that's the reason why, because everyone's, well, how come they don't come down and talk to us? Well, it's not time yet. Okay, so they're simply watching in the sky, and more is coming. All right, the closer we get to the end of our world, the more and more we'll see these things in the sky. And this is kind of a warning for us. This is something that we really need to look out for. We start seeing a lot of these things in the sky. Get ready. Something big is about to happen. All right. So right now, Putin is in his war with Ukraine. Everyone's talking about World War III and all this stuff. Well, that could very well happen. I don't know. Right. What I can tell you is, I mean, there's, from what I can understand, from what I see, there's very little UFO activity right now. So, I mean, I haven't seen any in quite a while. And so that's kind of a good thing. Because if we were about ready to have a nuclear war, as Putin wants to instigate, then we would start seeing a lot of these lights in the sky, a lot of UFOs in the sky. But as of now, as of today, things could change. But this is what you need to look out for, right? We start seeing a lot of UFOs. Something's up. It's time to panic. It's time to be concerned. Okay, maybe not panic, but it is time to be aware that something big is going to happen, and they know it. They know it, and they're waiting. That's what the whole idea is. That's what's going on here. They're waiting for mankind to need them once again. And we probably won't see it in our lifetime anyway. I mean, they're not going to come down and make themselves known to us. In our lifetime, it will be the people who survive this end of the world, the end of days, who will be there for the new world. They're the ones that are going to have to deal with these things. And from what I understand, you know, the history and everything, and the prophecies and everything, I mean, it's not gonna be a good thing. Okay, so let's get on with this. So we're talking about lights on the mountain. Let me show you something else. This is cool too. So when I'm out there on 2004 and I'm watching for the lights, I look over on the east side, and this is like a hospital that's over there, and I see these lights. Look at this. I see these crazy lights right around in here. Now watch them. Watch what they do. A lot of people say, whoa, those are cars, or those are flashlights, or those are bicycles. Well, let's watch what it does before you start thinking that it's a flashlight or a car. Let's study this for a minute here. This is what we need to look out for, people. This is what we need to see. This is what we need to look for. All right. And don't let them fool you. Don't let them think that it's cars or flashlights or bicycles. Okay. Stuff like this is not cars and bicycles. Watch what they do here. See how they disappear? Now look at this. Watch it. Watch what happens. This is fascinating. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was recording. This is in August. Now remember the time and date stamps. This is all very important. 2004, August 24th. Okay, because it's a pattern. Remember I told you. Remember I explained it. It's a pattern. So you can really learn a lot from the first few years of my research from the time and date stamps. Some of these video cameras now, it's very hard to figure out how to get the time and date stamps on your videos. But here it is, and you can actually learn more on where to see these, what months are good. This is in August, okay, and this is looking towards South Mountain on the east side. Look how they disappear, and look. It really fascinates me when they start doing this one thing. I'll show you here in a minute. I'll explain it to you when it happens. Here we go. Look at this. Watch what they do. Let's keep an eye on this. Let's look at this. Look how they're different colors too. Come on, they're blue and they're white and they're orange. Okay? They're disappearing and they're coming back in different places, all right? And it's really amazing on what they do next. Haven't yet. I'm still waiting. But it's just neat. And this is what we need to look for. Look how it lights up, right? And so if these were like flashlights or cars or bicycles, man, we would see the light beam, right? Because we have lights, we have flashlights to see our way, okay? It projects a beam out. If these were flashlights or lights of any kind that we understand, we would see, the landscape. We would see the bushes. We would see the cactus. We would see the trail that they're walking on, okay? We would see that light beam hitting the ground. We don't see any light beams. All right, these are illumination lights, okay? And they're coming and going from South Mountain. They're going in South Mountain. They're coming out of South Mountain, okay? Watch closely. Watch what they do whenever it happens. It's pretty fascinating. It's really neat what happens when it does. Come on now. See that light there? Look at that. This is on the mountain. This is not above the mountain. It's not on a trail. I mean, watch. Let's see what it does. And and where are the rest of the lights, right? So if that was a lot of people up there, where's the rest of them? They kind of disappeared, right? Oh, here it goes. See how it just morphed into two? Look at that. Did you see? Now look. No, now it's just, look what it's doing. Look at this. Look. Watch him. Oh, man, look at this. Here it goes. This is the fascinating part. Look at that. See how they go around each other. Look at that. Is that amazing or what? This is what we need to look for. Keep an eye out for these lights on the mountain. These are not, you can see one over here to the far right now. These are not flashlights. These are not cars, okay? These are living creatures. These are not spaceships or technology. These are living creatures, okay? I have a lot to go over, so I just wanted to show you this real quick. Look at this. Look. And they're going down, right? They're going down. Look what they're doing there. You see that? Absolutely fascinating. Okay. I have a few more videos, a lot more stuff I want to talk about. So we can't just watch this, but I just wanted to show you. Fascinating. Love that video. Okay, let's look at another one here. Okay, so now this one, I'm up on South Mountain, all right? And I'm looking east. Okay, I'm up on South Mountain. I'm on the east side. Let me back it up. All right. Here's a petroglyph. Let's stop it real quick. Now I want to show you something here. It's this glyph that we're looking at right here. Okay. Let me blow it up for you. This is the glyph that I'm concentrating on. So we have this right here. Don't matter. Don't look at the rest of it. Let's just concentrate on this right here. A lot of people will call this a tic-tac UFO, right? They call them a tic-tac nowadays. I guess it's a tic-tac. That's what they call it, okay? Now, what is he doing? He's morphing. There's a line, right? Not a string, not a balloon, but a line because he's morphing. He's shape-shifting, right? And he's growing like these arms or whatever. And now he's got like this, these legs, if you will. Now he's got this tail, right? And now look at this here. We have another orb. Just like another, like tic-tac, I guess you would call it. Another orb here, right? So I like to call this formation here like a pitchfork, and we have another pitchfork here, and then we have these another ones. This is interesting too, because the archaeologist doesn't want to admit or doesn't believe that the holocom had like a symbol, like a clan symbol. We have a lot of quail that run around on South Mountain. And when you look at this right here, I see a lot of petroglyphs and this feather coming up out of their heads. And it resembles the quail. And I believe the Holocom used the quail as a type of clan symbol, if you will. And that's basically what I'm discovering out here is a lot of petroglyphs that has the quail feather. Okay, but this guy here, he's got a tail. So we know he's not a man. He's not a human, right? He's a spirit. He's a creature. He's a UFO to us, a UAP. He's a shape-shifting entity, all right? And he's got this quail feather, all right? So look at this here. Now look at the bull. We're concentrating on that. All right, now let's look at the video. This is up on South Mountain. So I'm up on the east side, and I'm looking east. And I see this thing, and I jump on my camera. Look at this. There's downtown Phoenix right there.
See something?
And I see this thing here. Let's stop this real quick.
I
Stop.
haven't seen.
We can
Yeah.
Yeah, something, I don't know.
look at this thing, okay? Tic tac. So you can stop it. Boop. Look at this, all right? Oh, well, that's a helicopter. That's a helicopter, right? Come on now. And this is January. Look at the time and date stamp, January 2005. All right? This is a hot month. January, February, March, man. April, man. Those are good months to watch for these things, all right? Because the sun is in the right position of the fault line on South Mountain, and it's attracting these things. Oh, it's a helicopter. Well, where's the rest of the helicopter, right? Let's go ahead and play. Look at this. It's going to where, see, I lived right over there. I lived on the other side of this hill, right? That's what I was saying. So I would see them on the mountain, but they were, a good half a mile away, right? And I was trying so hard to be up on that hill. If I would have been on that hill in that map I showed you earlier, I would have got a great shot of that. But no, I'm on the other side, and now it's safe for them to come into the doorway. Let's watch it again real quick. There's downtown Phoenix. I jumped on the camera, man. I saw this thing coming. There it is, right? And look how it's cruising. Right?
I haven't seen.
It's on a mission. It's going somewhere.
Yeah, something, I don't know.
And it resembles the petroglyph that we saw earlier. The head.
There's flies.
It's going down on the mountain.
I want to eat some. I'm trying to eat it slow. You know why? I want to save some.
Okay. All right, now let's look at this one. Now I'm looking out my window. Okay, east side of South Mountain. February 2006. Look at this thing. This is what we need to look for. This is crazy. Watch this beam. Watch this. This is coming from what? The northeast, right? And it's coming over South Mountain. It's heading towards South Mountain. Look how it's changing. All right? Look how it's changing. It's moving ever so slowly. Okay? Not a balloon. All right? Look at this thing. It's on a mission. It knows where it's going. February. Look at the time. Look at the time. Remember I said 5:30? Look at that. 5:24. Right? February 5:24, east side of South Mountain. This is what we need to look for. Stuff like this. It's going towards the mountain. And look, it's changing shape. Look, see that? Look what it's doing. Study it. Watch it. Look what it's doing there. See that? This is what we need to look for. Keep your eyes open for things like this. This is what's here, people. Look at that thing. It's clearly on a mission. And, you know, these things don't make any noise. They don't cast any shadows. I mean, you won't even know it's there unless you look up. So you need to pay attention. There's the mountain. I just showed the mountain just a second ago when I was, you know, adjusting the tripod and adjusting the shot. Look at that thing, man. Is that weird? This is what's here. Don't let anybody fool you on thinking that there's something else, because this is what's going on here. Now look at that. It's right over South Mountain. All right. It's right over the east side. What? 48th Street and Baseline? Those of you who are familiar with Phoenix. I have a lot of videos, so a few more. I want to kind of speed it up. I'm speeding it up. See, look at this. Look how it just changed right there. You see that? You see what it just did? It just kind of changed. Now this is weird too, because remember I was explaining that when you're next to the doors, these things won't come around. So where this thing is heading at, it's heading on it. Look at that. Look at it now. It's like 3 orbs or something, or a serpent or a snake. See that? This thing is heading to a major trail on South Mountain, and behind the hill here, and behind this hill where it's over at right now, is a huge boulder, and there's a lot of petroglyphs, a lot of spirals there. Okay, but it's also like a main trail for hikers and joggers and bikers. And I believe, and it's just hanging there. Okay, it's just hanging right in the sky, right over that spot. And I believe that there was somebody there. All right, so he can't go down yet. Now look, see, look, he's just hanging right above South Mountain. He's not moving. All right, he's just sitting there. Let's go a little bit faster. I'm not sure if, it doesn't look like. Okay, so this video, because it is a long video. This is a very long video. Yeah, it's already like 5:30 there. So I think, around like 5:40, I think it finally goes down. It finally goes down on the mountain, but it was hanging up there for the longest time before it went down. And I think that there was somebody there, and it was waiting for them to leave. Okay, now let's see what else. Okay. Let's talk about the Phoenix Lights. All right. So, the east side. Let's talk about the east side. All right. Let's start off with the east side. This is South Mountain right here. Right here. This is South Mountain. Okay. So, in 2004, I'm like right about in this area, and I'm watching right about in this area. This is where Mesa Community College is, and I'm looking in this direction. I'm looking right here, and this is where the lights were right at. We're right here, okay? And look what's here. There's a power plant on Ray Road. There is a major electrical power plant there, okay? These lights were right over this power plant. Let me show you a video. Let's take a look at this. This is a 2004. This is right over the power plant. Where's my arrow at? Okay, let's stop it right here. Now, these lights here, you see these lights? All these lights here are the power plant lights. There's like these antennas or these, I don't know, these these poles or these antenna poles, okay? And they're sticking straight up out of the power plant, all right? And that's what these lights are here, all right? And that's what we're looking at. That's what these are. That's what those are anyway, are the power plant lights. And those are the Phoenix lights, the UFO lights. This is in 2004. This is November. Let's keep tabs on the dates here. Like I said, it's a pattern, all right? And there's the power plant lights. I wonder if that photograph, let me see if this photograph, let's pause this for a minute. Okay, so those lights that we're looking at, are the power plant lights, are these things here. It's really hard to see in this photograph. And here. Oh, yeah, wait. Yeah, here. Look, see all this hardware here? These have the lights on them. Those are the lights. Here. That's what those lights are right there. And these Phoenix lights are right over that power plant. And what are they doing? They're absorbing the energy. This power plant, this is 2004. This is the summer, November. It's a hot time in November in the desert. Everyone's using their electricity. Everyone's using their air conditioners. And so the city of Phoenix needs to turn on all these electrical power plants. See, now this is the college that I'm standing at. There's the tennis court. The tennis court in the background. See how far away these lights were? There's an airplane. There's the airplane. See that? There's an airplane watching it. A little blinking little airplane. He's up there hanging around watching these things. Right over the power plant. And that's what was going on the whole summer of 2004. These lights would hang over the power plant. Sometimes the lights would like show up way over here. All right. Now, they're not zigzagging all over the sky. They're coming in. They're being silent. They're being stealthy. They don't want anybody to notice that they're here. All right. And what they do is they slowly come in. All right. They don't cast any shadows. They don't make any noise. They just come through this doorway in the sky. They come through the porthole. They come through the vortex. All right. And they come in over here. And then they slowly, to attract any attention, go towards the power plant. Okay. And when I took it home and all the videos that I filmed, and I take it home and I speed it up, you can see them. Boop, they show up and then they go right over the power plant. Then they disappear. And then more would show up and they go right over the power plant and disappear. But in real time, they're like going slow, man. You wouldn't even know these things are moving. They're just going so slow, right? They don't want to cause any attention. Right? And they want to go right over that power plant and they want to absorb the energy. Okay? That's what they're doing. They're sucking up the energy. It's like an intergalactic gas station, right? This is what's here, people. This is what's going on. There's the power plant lights. There's the Phoenix lights right there. There's the lights. Now, let's see if we can speed this up just a bit because we're running out of time. So, yeah, one disappeared. Let's see if we can get that. Okay, yeah. Watch how they disappear. They always disappear in, like, single order. See that? That's how you can tell if something's legit or not. These lights are legit. Because one would disappear, and then the other ones will start slowly disappearing with it. Okay, that one's kind of sticking around. Well, the video started over again. But that's basically how we can, one way we can tell that it's a legit sighting. All right, so like I said, I must have got like 150 sightings that summer. So that's where you need to look for the lights on the east side. All right, is right over this power plant. All right, now it's very scarce that they're there. All right, they're not there like all the time, but that's one place that you really need to pay attention at. All right, because you saw the video. That's what's going on there. All right, so if you have the time, you have the means, and you want to go out there and check it out, I suggest that you do, because like I said, it's a pattern. So, sometimes, some weeks they're active, other weeks they're not active, some months they're heavy, other months they're not. Even some years, they're gone, all right? And then they come back the next year or the year before. So it's a very, very long and patient hobby, investigation. This takes a lot of dedication and a lot of time, all right? But when you see it, you'll see it, okay? You'll understand what I'm talking about. So the Phoenix Lights, the 1997 Phoenix Lights. Now this is South Mountain here. This is the Australia Mountain. This is the Indian reservation. Australia means star in Spanish, okay? And so the Phoenix Lights happened right in here. Right, nothing went over the city. Okay, let's stop listening to hearsay and let's look at what we can prove. And what we can prove is lights over here. My theory on that is if a handful of people can film lights way on the far side of South Mountain, then why couldn't a handful of people film something going over the city, a craft reported going 8 miles an hour, a mile-long craft going 8 miles an hour over the city of Phoenix, and not one person can pick up a video camera or a camera? This makes no sense. If something like that would have happened, something that doesn't make sense is not credible. Okay, but we do have video because of what did happen of like 4, maybe 5 people, that film lights over here. The way I look at this 1997 whole, lights thing, it's like, like at school, like we're back in 5th grade. Johnny fell off the swing and he scuffed up his knee. And by the time it circles the whole school, Johnny's in the hospital. He's losing his leg. He's almost gonna die. All right, that's basically what happened when March 13th, 1997. Only a handful of people, maybe 1,000 people, if that, witnessed this. But as the story keeps growing and more people trying to profit off of this, selling books and movie tickets and trying to get famous and get it on soapboxes and trying to keep this story alive off of hearsay, no evidence, no proof of anything going over Phoenix, all right? And they're profiting off of this. They're making money. They're going off the ignorance of people. And the story gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I've heard stories like, oh my God, there's windows and people looking out, and there's gun turrets and gun holes, and oh my God, the story just gets outrageous every year. And those people that are saying this, especially the ones with movie tickets and books, and they're the disinformation. They're part of the problem. All right, they are not the solution. They are part of the problem, and they're only out for their own gain. They're preying off people's ignorance. They think that just because they call themselves a doctor, that they're gonna be, that they know what they're talking about and they must be right. Well, I'm sorry, there's no evidence of this, and I even talked about it in our last show about this. So you need to be careful. You need to investigate things on your own. That's exactly what I did, and this is what I discovered. And I can tell you, I was there that night. I didn't see anything go over Phoenix. I've done my research on this. I'm not from out of town. I was born and raised in Phoenix, okay? And I'm not going to blow smoke up your butt. I'm here to tell you exactly what's going on. And I thought if I had proof of anything going over the city of Phoenix, if I had evidence of that, I would say it and I would show it. but I don't. All right, and I'm the only one that has truly investigated the Phoenix Lights and everything else and the UFOs and the history and the petroglyphs. No one else has ever done this. And if I was to discover another situation, another road, then I would tell you that. All right, but this is what I found. This is my findings here. If I thought that it was something else, I would tell you about that. But no, this is what I found. Okay, and I believed it like everybody else, a spaceship, a craft. But I come to find out, where's the evidence? Okay. I did serious research on the Phoenix Lights. I just didn't go on hearsay. You can't go on hearsay. All right. If you're going to make a fantastic claim like this, you better be able to back it up. There's no evidence of anything going over the city of Phoenix. Just a bunch of hearsay. What we do know and what we can be proved are lights right here, and that's it. And I'm going to tell you, these lights here, all right, I'm going to tell you where to see these Phoenix Lights at on the west side. Right over here. Okay? Now, I used to set up right in here. There's a park that's right here. It used to be anyway. And this right here is the football stadium. It used to be called the Cardinal Stadium. It looks like a big UFO, right? So I used to hang out like right across the street, and I used to watch these lights right over here. Let me show you something. Here's a photograph of the exact. I took this in 2010. All right. This is the exact same spot where the 1997 Phoenix Lights happened at. And you can still see the lights there today if you pay attention. All right? Look at that. Let's blow this up. This is some of the best photographs of the Phoenix Lights ever. I think I have about maybe 8 photographs of these lights. Okay, and this is me sitting out in the park right across the street from that football stadium, looking towards South Mountain, on the west side of South Mountain, and between South Mountain and the Australia Mountains. I'm going to show you a video. I just wanted to show you this photograph real quick. Okay, and that's right in here. Right here, right? So I'm here. And I filmed these lights right around in here in this area. They were huge. Look at this. Look how big they are. Okay? All right, let's look at a video. Okay, here we go. This is what April 2009, excuse me. I thought it was 10. It was 2009. April, all right? Over here on the west side of South Mountain. Okay, so right here, this is the ground. These are look at that. See the road, the traffic. So once I get the tripod still, all right, then we can see. Here we go. You can see the traffic. Come on, Arrow. Okay, you can stop moving around. There you go. Okay, so this is like a busy road. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the road out there. But South Mountain is over here to the left, and the Australias are right over here to the right. Okay, and now this orb is right there in between those two mountains. It's the exact same spot where the 1997 Phoenix Lights happened at, right around in here. In the map, I'm kind of putting them here, but maybe they were a little bit further out, maybe like around in here somewhere, because I mean they were just so big and so close. I think that they were here, but I'm not really positive. But I am right here, and I am looking this way, okay? And so I don't know. You be the judge. I mean, is it that far? Is it? I mean, is it that close, or could it be further? Maybe up around in here. I'm thinking maybe it was around in here somewhere, because this is where the 1997 lights happened at. It did, it did like this little arc formation. Not a V, but a little arc, okay? Exact same spot where these Phoenix lights took place at. The lights are still going on today, and you need to pay attention. April, people, April 2nd, right? West side of South Mountain. Let's see. We can speed this up. Okay, there's 2. Yeah, see. Okay. There it is. There's cars, right? So it's like further back. So it's not right above the cars. It's like further back. So yeah, I'm thinking that it's right around in this area. It's right around in here, and those there's no road there on the map, but yeah, there it goes. See how it just disappears? See that? And then a little bit later, I believe 2 more show up. I was waiting for them to pop up. I want to get it on film. Because I love it when they just, magically appear in the sky. They come through that vortex. They come through the door. They come through the porthole. And they just magically appear in the sky. So I was waiting, and then sure enough, as soon as I turn off that camera, there they come, and that's basically what happened here. So it's 8:49. Let's watch the time. It's 8:49. And when do they come back? So I'm waiting. I knew that they were going to come back because we were getting a lot of sightings. There was a lot going on that night. So I was just waiting. And that's like kind of the money shot when they just appear in the sky. It's it's great, and I wanted to get it. But I didn't want to use up my batteries and use up the films. I'm like, damn, So okay, so I turned it off, and then it's still 8:49, and then 2 of them just appeared in the sky right there. So yeah. Okay. So this is the place where we want to look for the Phoenix lights at. Over here on the west side, on the original spot where the lights happened at, on the west side of Phoenix, and also over this power plant on the east side. I think there's more of a chance of seeing the lights on the west side over here than it is over the power plant. That was kind of, I don't know why, but I mean, I was lucky. Like I said before, these things, they wanted me to film it. They wanted me to tell their story, right? They wanted me to tell you on where to look for them at. It's the only explanation after all these years. It's the only explanation. And so, I mean, if you do see them over that power plant, always film these things. Try not to use your camera phone. You try to use a video camera. And always film things always film how they leave the sky. That's very important. There's so many hoaxes out there, people editing, chop this and chop that and editing. We want to see raw video. We want to see how they came in the sky. We want to see how they leave the sky. That's very crucial. It's very important when I'm analyzing videos. Because I know what I'm looking for. I've seen them with my own eyes many, many years. I'm a veteran at this. I can spot a fake a mile away. I know what an airplane is. I know what a balloon is. I know what flares are. I mean, I've studied all that stuff. So, a lot of people they try to hoax other people and to thinking that it's a UFO when actually it's probably a plane or something man-made. Okay. Now let's see what else we got here. All right, so this could be, I believe this is the last video, right? And so there's a lot of there were some questions on my Facebook page. You can find me on Facebook, Jeff Woolwine, Petroglyphs on the Sky. Find me on Facebook. Follow my YouTube channel. Make sure it says Phoenix Lights Petroglyphs in the Sky. There's another Petroglyphs in the Sky. That's not me. Don't subscribe to that. You want to subscribe to the Phoenix Lights Petroglyphs in the Sky. And there's so many people asking me, well, have people gone up there? Yes. People have gone up there, all right, after, they're up there looking for UFOs like myself. And I took this guy, Nate, up there on South Mountain one day. We talked about the petroglyphs. I went home. And he went home also, but then he looked, and he didn't live that far from the mountain. And when he looked back at the mountain, he saw something in the sky, all right? So this is after I took him and his friend up there on South Mountain. This is what he saw. Now this is right above the mountain. Let me see. Let's see if I get the audio going on like this. Okay, yeah, the audio's going. Okay, so
it is, Dennis. That's what he's seeing. That's one, Dennis.
all right, so the first of it, he's at his house and he first sees it.
No.
So yes, I mean, it is possible. People have done it before. I tell them where to look, and they look and they see him.
Yeah, I got it.
This is not just, this is not just my interpretation. I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before.
I should zoom in.
Okay, as far as the petroglyphs and the following of the sun and the fault lines and the doorways. I mean, all this information has already been here. I didn't make this stuff up. This stuff has always been here with us. Okay, I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before. I'm just repeating it. I'm bringing back this history. I'm bringing back the story, all right, of what the Phoenix Lights really is, on what Phoenix, Arizona's history really is, what the petroglyphs are talking about, who the Hohokam Indians were, okay, and how to see UFOs. This is living proof. Now, a lot of people would say, "Oh, that's just a bunch of balloons." Well, let's study this for a minute. This is how these things are getting away with being in our skies and nobody paying attention. It's because they see stuff like this and they automatically assume that they're looking at balloons, okay? Because they would, in a way, appear to be balloons, but they are not acting the way balloons do, okay? So this is like kind of far,
Those ain't
all right?
balloons. Call Jeff, dude.
This is what we want to look for. Okay, so now he's at the mountain now.
Here.
First we saw the video where we saw the houses.
Leave a
so now
message.
he chased it.
Well,
He
you can
chased
see
it.
the
He's
tail
over. He's
Yeah.
back at South Mountain now. This is on Central. That hill right there, that's actually Holbrook's Lookout.
I don't know.
Okay.
It looks like it changes shape.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff.
I believe he's in a truck.
Hey, dude, we're looking at something right now, man.
Tell him Nathan's got it on camera.
Oh, fuck. It's, well, it's not balloons.
He's in the truck of this. He's in the driver's seat of this truck. Okay, and he's looking at this thing.
Well, he's trying to take a video right now. It's orange and yellow, for the most part, and it just kind of, it looks like a snake at one point, and then a bird on another point. Oh, dude, if Nathan can't film this, dude, something's wrong with his camera, because it's clear as day.
At first, they're like, is it balloons? Is it not balloons?
It's right over us. Come on, cousin, get in.
Finally dawns
Get
on
in.
him, look, balloons don't act like that.
Oh, let me talk to him. Let me talk to him.
Why would there be, a bunch of
Hey,
balloons over
I'm
the
on it,
South
bro.
Mountain?
It's a yellow one. It's like a worm. It looks like the worm. Yeah,
Alright,
I'm on it right now,
It'll get
dude.
better.
Yeah, I got it, cousin. It's huge. It looks like a bird, bro.
It looks like a dog.
It's like it's changing formations. It's changing shapes.
And they call me up.
But it's big. It looks like a bunch of balloons, like a bird flying in the
Jeff,
sky,
call
man.
Jeff.
It's yellow. It looks like a
This is like
looks
right
like
after,
seaweed or something.
we
Floating
did
in
a
the
tour
sky,
on
and it's
South
just
Mountain
suspended in
talking
there,
about petroglyphs,
cousin.
talking about
Looks
the
like just a
flying
bunch of
circles.
balloons, but it's like,
Talking
I
about
can't
what
talk
to look
to him.
for
Oh,
in
it
the
is
skies
blue.
Is it?
Yeah.
No,
of
it's
South
not.
Mountain.
Look.
No, cousin. No way. Look at it. Fuck no, it's not balloons, dude. Look at that.
Okay, good.
Wow. It's brilliant.
Okay, stop right here. here, right here. We're right over it. Come on, I gotta see.
It's coming down, dude.
I gotta see.
No, it's not.
Okay, so yeah, right there. That's around
What is it?
Holbrook's Lookout. Right around, well, that's where the antennas are. You see the antennas right up there. I guess Holbrook Lookout is more left in the video. Yeah, because they're like on they're on like the main road of South Mountain inside the park now. They're in the mountain now. Come on, camera up, camera up. Here we go. Come on.
It looks like balloons, cousin. Dennis,
Where's your light one tossed?
it's balloons, huh?
All right, here we go. Now, look at this thing. Okay. Now, let's watch what it does. Watch what it does. Look how it's moving. Okay. Now, see that? Now what does it look like? Doesn't it look like a snake? A flying serpent? Look how it's moving. So balloons, they just flitter back and forth. Okay, they're not going to stay together like this. Okay, and it does, you know, kind of change color. Now it's changing shape. You see that now? Look at them. This is how these things are getting away in our skies, is because people mistake them for what they understand. Now look at that. Okay? Will balloons really look like this? Have you ever seen balloons do this before? Look at that. Is that like two eyes? Two eyeballs? And a body? Right? Look how it's changing. Look at this.
Just, you know what? Balloons don't act like that, bro.
This is what we need to look for. Train your eyes for things like this. Look. See that? Did I lose it?
Pushed around.
Yeah, this is something completely different.
This is like it's pushed around.
No. Let me pull over, bro. Let's get it closer.
Okay.
Here, record that. That way you can get that.
Okay.
Look at that. Look at how it's suspended right now in air. Here, record all that. Look at it's like changing formations. You get that? Look at that phenomenon. What is it, Dennis? Huh?
I don't know, dude.
It's like a serpent, dude. See, this is what the Indians see, cousin.
Oh, I got it. No, I don't got it.
That's right there, dude.
Let's move it
I
back
lost
here.
him.
Okay, get on your side and record.
Let's move it back. Okay, yeah. That's when it's doing this. I mean, this is something. I mean, this is just, I mean, look at that. Okay? Can you honestly say that these are balloons. I mean, look at that. Look what it's doing. Look how it's changing shape and changing colors. See that? This is what we need to be looking for, people. Look at that. Is that something? I mean, I really love the way it went, the way it looks like a snake.
Looks like just a bunch of balloons, but it's like...
Let's see if we can get that back.
We're right over it. Come on, I gotta.
It's coming down, dude. No, it's not. Balloons, cousin.
Here. See, now look. See, look at that. It first looks like that. Okay. Have you ever seen balloons look like this before? I mean, balloons are like, they're round. They're pearl looking. You can see the knots, you know? Now look, see, look what it's doing now. Watch. See that, how it connects together? Look at how it's connecting. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Come on, look at that. Look at that. We've got the mouth. We've got the nose. We've got the eye. We've got the body. Now look at this. It's starting to have this rod that's coming down from the bottom of it. I mean, look at this thing. Right? Have you ever seen anything like this before? If you have, please film it and let me see it. Look at this. Come on now. Do balloons really look like this? Is that crazy? And then it shapeshifts. It changes once again. See? Ooh, there's a snake. Now look at it. See? That is just crazy. That is just crazy stuff. That's crazy stuff. This is what we need to look for. Things like this. Lights in the sky. Orbs in the sky. Petroglyphs in the sky. I hope you guys have enjoyed tonight's show. Yes, it was a long one. Hopefully you got some good information about what's here in Phoenix, Arizona, and also in your neck of the woods. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the Phoenix Lights Petroglyphs in the Sky YouTube channel. Find me on Facebook, Jeff Woolwine. Let's talk about UFOs. Send me your UFO videos. And yeah, you know.
Yeah, this is something completely different. No, let me pull over, bro. Let's get it closer. Here,
thank you again for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Petroglyphs in the Sky. Excuse me, the Phoenix Lights. Make sure it says the Phoenix Lights Petroglyphs in the Sky. Before we go, I'm gonna talk over. I want to go over my book real quick.
I don't know, dude.
Well, let's listen to these guys real quick.
See, this is what the Indians see, cousin.
Oh, I got it. No, I don't got it.
That's right there, dude.
Oh, I lost him.
Okay, get on your side and record.
Oh, can't do it. Okay. All right.
Okay, change shape. Here, let me try. Let me go. You got it?
Yeah.
See, my question is this something we should be, this has to be something like,
You want to grab it, see if you can zoom in on it?
yeah.
I got some of it.
Look at those aren't balloons, cousin. See how it's changing? It's like a snake. Look at it. It just flies around. It's just changing. And it's just doing its own thing. It's changing. See how low it came? And then it went up? Look, it went down low, cousin. Okay, you know what? We gotta go up to the top. Here.
Okay, well, we got some of it. I mean,
We'll get more, dude. Fuck this. You didn't come here, and I'm not gonna waste my
we didn't
time.
get this far, huh?
No. There's something behind that. We gotta get up higher. We had a nice view of that. That was
Oh, we
beautiful.
did. I mean,
We gotta go. Keep your eye on it, though.
there's a plane flying right behind it.
Okay. Okay. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So I have another channel real quick. It's called Haunted Encounter Adventures. Check this out on YouTube. My wife and I, we go off and we do ghost hunts and paranormal things. So check it out. Make sure you subscribe to this channel also. Haunted Encounter Adventures. Check it out. Lots of neat stuff there. Lots of neat ghost hunts and communications and things like that. Here's a book. 15 years in the making, ladies and gentlemen. The Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky. Landscape for the Spirits. True stories, myths, legends, and UFOs over Phoenix. Find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, ebooks, things like that. Tons of color photographs, not just hearsay with no evidence, okay? We've got photographs of the petroglyphs, and it explains on how to understand the petroglyphs, explains the lost history of Phoenix, Arizona. So thank you guys so much for watching. Check out the book, and if you guys go out there and just do what I do, look for the UFOs on South Mountain. I've already showed you what to look for. I've given you places on where to look. All my experiences was all into this show. I hope you guys will take advantage of this, because I didn't have any of this when I started. I started off with scratch, and now I'm presenting this information to you. And thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys film something, please let me know. We will see you next time. Thank you again. Bye-bye.